Okay, so we have not done a Socratic seminar before, but I know a lot of you have in previous classes, but this one might be a little bit different because we're really going to follow kind of the traditional rules for Socratic discussions. And some of this we talked about in class yesterday, but I'll remind you of it, we'll repeat it. And so Socrates developed a method of discussion which he called discourse, not debate. Okay, and we talked about this yesterday in class a little bit, right? Our purpose here is not to convince anybody of something and change their mind. It's just to have a scholarly exchange of ideas. And then you come away more learned as a result of that, right? Considering other people's point of view. It doesn't mean you change your opinion. It just means that you have opened yourself up to other perspectives. So that's what we're going for here, discourse. Okay? And of course, the purpose of the entrance ticket in order to participate is so that way you have done some pre-thinking. Okay, we're not here as a free-for-all. We're here with people who have actual things to say, and we've prepped for that. Okay, and that's what the entrance ticket is for. So you can pull information in from things that you have looked at prior to. Now, in front of you, inner circle, you have an observation checklist. Okay, it's two-sided. Okay, so you're going to write your name on one side, and then you're going to give it to the outer circle, who we're going to call your coach. Okay, that's your coach sitting behind you. Put your name on it and then give it to your coach. It's going to be your coach's responsibility to critique you as you participate. Now, your coach will then put his or her name on the other side, and you'll get this back when you move to the outer circle, and you'll critique your coach. Now, he's inner circle, you're outer circle. Okay, does everybody see how that works? So fill your name in, give it to your coach. Now, if you're in the outer circle, you cannot speak. Okay, if there's something that you're like, oh my gosh, totally wish I could say something right now, number one, you can't. But number two, write it down and say it when it's your turn to be in the inner circle. Okay, but you cannot speak. You can't talk to each other. Your sole focus is on the person you're going to coach if you're in the outer circle. Okay, just like Matt, just like that. Okay, now the other thing you have in front of you is the self-assessment. Now here's why we're doing that. So your coach is going to assess you, and I have my pink clipboard, so I'm going to be charting when you speak. So that means I'm giving you something, your coach is giving you something, but you haven't talked to yourself about how did I do. So that's why a self-assessment's important. It's probably actually one of the most important things in a seminar because it gives you a chance to reflect on your own participation, your own learning. Where am I awesome? Where could I be a little bit better? Okay? Now, this is all honest to goodness feedback. That grade you give yourself is not going in any assembler. Ultimately, you know, I win. My stuff goes in. However, you're going to really think about what you did and how you can improve your performance next time. Okay? So you have two of these in front of you. Give one of them to your coach, and one you'll keep. Obviously, you can't fill that out until your time in the inner circle is over. Okay. So how will the seminar work? The seminar will start out with the inner circle speaking, and roughly 8 minutes, maybe 9 minutes. Then I'll call like a 1-minute coaching break, okay? And then you'll turn around and you and your coach will talk about anything that needs talking about, okay? About a minute. Then you'll come back in for about 5 more minutes to either adjust what you've been doing, up your game a little bit if you've been kind of silent, or quiet it up if you've monopolized the conversation, all right? And then we will switch and we will go through the same process all over again. Okay? That's how we're going to do it. Now, ideally, it's not going to be me up here talking. I mean, where I'd like to sit is over here and just observe quietly. So ideally, you guys will lead the discussion. This is the first time we're doing it, so I may need to prompt and nudge you a little bit just to kind of get you talking. But once it starts, you want to just feed off of each other. You don't have to stare and look at me. Look at each other. If a partner says something that you find intriguing, you say, that's interesting. Explain, or let me explain, or I want to add to. Or it's just like in chapter 2 of Frankenstein. Okay? Or this reminds me of Henry Higgins and Pygmalion. Okay? So anything's fair game. You're not talking in a way that you think I want to hear. You're talking a true scholarly discourse here. You might come out and say, you know, I hate Frankenstein. Okay? Totally fair game. Okay? Any questions about how we'll run it? I'll be the timekeeper. Now, you have the stuff in front of you, and you're supposed to be building on that, pulling things in. But remember, the whole purpose of our seminar is really to discuss what? Frankenstein, right. Really to discuss Frankenstein. All of this stuff supports some of the thematic elements that we've been talking about, that we've hit on as we've read George Bernard Shaw's play. Also, over the summer and first quarter when we read Oryx and Crake by Atwood, a lot of that applies too. This is a great way to just kind of put all that together and make a whole bunch of great connections. So, any questions for me?